I'm being joined now by the president of Afrimart Limited, Frederick Ibinedium, who is attending this meeting. Good morning, Mr. Ibinedium. Thank you very much for coming through to us.
Good morning.
Now, Afrimart is already a go-to platform for trade in Africa. How much has Afrexim been able to impact your work?
Well, as you know, Afrexim was originally set up as Africa's trade bank, but over the last year, their big initiative has been on intra-Africa trade, because as far as Africa is the last major growth continent in the world, the only impediment to this growth, one of the major impediments, is that Africa does not trade with itself. Africa does not effectively trade with itself, and there are several reasons for this. I mean, some of them are logistics, some of them are cross-border payments, some of them have to do with the different customs regimes across the continent. So with Afrexim as part and parcel of this partnership, a lot of these hurdles can be surmounted because they have direct contact with the bodies that are important in bringing down these barriers. So Afrimart as a platform is a cross-border Pan-African trade platform that its main purpose, as you said, is to enhance intra-Africa trade and also to have Africa trade with the world. Because they say charity begins at home. Once you learn to trade at home, you can also learn to trade across the world globally.
All right, now with the theme, boosting intra-African trade and integration, that's the theme of this year's annual meeting. How does this play out with the e-commerce business that Afrimart does?
Well, the basis of trade in this day and age has to be tied to technology, because there are many manufacturers, producers, service providers in Africa that do not get the necessary visibility, even within the continent. So if we are able to give them this visibility, and the best way to give visibility now, we all know, is through the internet, whether through mobile apps or through web. So essentially, our technology, our e-commerce platform is part and parcel of this growth. And without such technology, this growth will be that much more difficult.
Now, Afrimart projects $250 billion in revenue through intra-Africa trade from the consumption pattern of Africans. What are likely to be the target sectors?
Okay, first of all, to answer that, to talk about the figures. Afrexim projected $250 billion based on certain parameters that they were going to enhance. Now, we believe this can be closer to 300 or 350 billion with a platform like Afrimart, because of the information that we put out there and because of the connection between the buyers and sellers. Now, with regard to the sectors you're talking about, Africa, for the main part, is a commodities market, and we need to recognize this. So, as far as growth begins, we need to start with where we have strength. We need to add value to our commodities before they leave the continent. For instance, yesterday I met a very fine young lady who, I was quite proud of her story, because she actually produces cocoa. She adds value to cocoa, produces cocoa chocolate powder, she produces cocoa butter and different things. These are things we need to start looking at in Africa. If our commodities alone can reach that 250 billion in trade. Not to talk of some of the other, shall I say, limited manufacturing that we do, whether it's in textiles, in leather, or some other goods that we do manufacture. Once again, a platform like Afrimart, what it does, it helps to enhance growth, because by putting the information out there, you're getting a global audience that is interested in your goods, which also gives you a higher demand for your goods, which allows you to grow and scale up in your production.
Now, you even have a bigger projection of reaching a $350 billion mark in 5 years in partnership with Afrexim Bank. How do you hope to achieve this?
Well, once again, the main anchor to achieving this is through information. first you have to make the information available. If I have let's say someone in Aba who makes slippers, and someone in Ethiopia might be interested in taking off some of this production from them and selling it in Ethiopia, it would be much more difficult if you didn't have a platform like Afrimart that they could sit in their home country, search these products, and be able to now contact the manufacturer or the merchant and then make a deal, And so with that kind of information, it makes it much easier. There are a lot of people in Africa that are sitting in silos right now. A lot of things happen in silos, and because of that, we do not get enough trade within the continent. So what we believe is there is a huge potential of hidden trade that is out there on this continent that will be activated once people have the right information to that trade.
Now, just a quick one before I let you go. The e-commerce space is gradually taking a hold in the African marketplace. Would you say the prospects outweigh the challenges, or is it the other way around?
I think in any industry there'll be challenges. We know that one of the biggest challenges on the continent is power, which invariably affects the devices we use to access the internet, which is obviously they need to be charged and things like that. Most Africans access the internet through their mobile phones. However, we must not approach any problem from waiting for the challenges to be surmounted. Once you create a need, those challenges will automatically sort themselves out, as long as the need is there. It's the same thing, like I said, with trade. Once you create the information, people will utilize and they will grow.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Frederick Ibenedion, the president of
Afrimart
Limited.